Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Stéphane, and thanks for joining me on this cook-along class at the French Cooking Academy. Once again, this week we're going to learn something quite interesting. We're going to see how a chef uses simple recipes or a soup recipe. Here we'll take the leek and potato soup, and how do they transform this into a restaurant-grade type of soup. So the soup you would expect to have in a restaurant. You know, you go sit at the restaurant and you think, oh, I don't want a simple soup, I want the special soup, right? So how do they do it? Well, you'll be surprised that the action of transforming the soup is actually super simple, does not require much ingredients, but the result is quite stunning. Let's do it. And here we are. So how do they do it? How do chefs transform things from simple to great? Well, first you need to look at the base recipe. So in this example, the base recipe is the potage parmentier, which is a soup that is made with leeks, potato, a little bit of onion, you got some salt and pepper, of course, you got some cream at the end, and you're just going to use water as a cooking medium. That is the base recipe. So what chefs are doing, they use that as a base, plus some extra ingredients. Let me show you what it is. And so as you can see, we still have the salt and pepper, the potato, the onion, the leek, the cream, but the water is now gone, and we have instead this homemade white chicken stock. Now the white chicken stock is gonna really elevate the taste of your soup, because water and stock is different. You're gonna have a nice taste of chicken throughout with the vegetables, so that's gonna already be much better taste-wise. On top of that, the chefs, they're gonna add some wine into the soup, some cumin, and some saffron thread. So as you can see, it is not a drastic kind of change, and we're replacing the water with a stock, and we're adding a few additional ingredients that is going to color the soup and give it a very distinctive flavor. That's all there is to it. When it comes to making it, I'm going to show you now the mise en place, what you need to make it, and then we'll do the recipe. And now let's talk about the mise en place. If you're new to the channel, the mise en place is the preparation of the ingredients before you start the recipe. So for that recipe, before you start, you have to slice the leek, slice the onion. You're going to peel and cut your potatoes in medium-sized cubes and keep it in water. And then measure all of the liquids. We're going to use 4 cups of clear or white stock. Of course, we've got the salt and pepper. And I'm going to reserve the cream in the fridge because we're going to use it at the end. Now, let me show you the cookware we need. Now today for the cookware, all what we need is a large saucepan, a spoon of any kind. The sieve is optional, but most important, stick blender or a blender, because we have to process the soup at the end, and that's it. So when you got everything ready, let's go on the stove and let's make that special soup. Perfect, so let's start. We're gonna use the large pan. I've got 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm gonna bring this to a medium heat, and we're gonna start by cooking the onion first. It's always a good idea to start with the onion. They're a bit tougher to cook than the rest, so we're gonna spend a good 3 minutes on a medium heat. I've got a piece of leeks that fell in, it doesn't matter, and we're going to cook them gently, so no coloration, for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, we're going to add the rest, starting with the leeks, the potatoes, the spices. So we've got the cumin, the saffron threads, okay, everywhere, and we're going to finish with the white stock. Remember, for the stock, we've got 4 cups, that's 2. Let me add more. And there is the rest. With my spoon, I'm going to stir the whole lot because remember we get the spices and we get the saffron threads in here. We're going to add some salt and pepper. You can use rock salt if you want. Don't overdo the salt because you never, when you make a soup, it's important not to over-season. Okay, and we're first going to bring this to a very light simmer. So I'm going to raise the heat. So we're almost here. We see these little bubbles coming here, and this is when you need to start to put the timer on. So I'm going to count 20 minutes cooking time, okay? And the goal, if I can find the potatoes somewhere in here, there's one, and is to wait until the potatoes are cooked, but they don't really totally fall apart. So usually 15 to 20 minutes should do the trick. So I'm going to reduce my heat to very, very low because the key for these soups is a very low heat, to allow for the vegetable to gently cook and release their flavor. And we're going to cook this partly cover. So I'm going to put my timer on, 20 minutes. And after the 20 minutes, this is when we're going to be adding the wine and the cream. Only at the end, but I'll see you then. And here we are. So after 20 minutes, you turn the heat off and the soup is cooked. So what do we mean? The potatoes, they're still whole like this, but if I press them, they're gonna, break apart very easily. We now need to process the soup. So you can use a blender, but I'm gonna use a standard sting blender. I think it's safer with warm preparation, but that has to happen absolutely off the heat. And this is when we're gonna add the cream and the wine. Off the heat, it is now that we're gonna add the wine. It's not gonna be cooking, so it's gonna be a nice addition. And the cream is just a few tablespoons, it's up to you. I like to have plenty of cream because it's gonna alter the color. And from here, we're gonna mix the whole lot. And here we are, back on the stove. So I've transferred the soup to another pan, and this is where you add the final touches in there. So I've added already a little bit of more cream because I wanted the color to be a bit paler. I've put the heat back on to medium to simmer this a little bit. And I'm gonna add a hint of lemon juice and some salt because I think it needed some salt. Okay, and that's about it. Once you've got the taste that you want, the soup is ready to serve and we can taste it out. So once you've made the final adjustment with the seasoning, you can add more cream, something a bit clearer, then you pour it in a plate and you decorate. I've added some little droplet of olive oil to make it more restaurant-like, but of course, we need to test this soup. So look at the texture, look at the color. It's quite nice, quite thin. Yeah, so immediately, chicken stock and saffron kind of hits you. Not in the way that the chicken stock feels like a chicken soup, but it just have that kind of body to it, texture to it. There is a taste, a pronounced good taste. And then of course, as you eat it, the potato, the texture of the potato, a little bit grainy with the leeks, so it's like fresh vegetables, and the oiliness of the olive oil, you can actually feel that, but it is quite bluffing, I have to say. So as you can see, it is not that hard to transform a simple soup into something that is more elegant and refined, and perfect if you have some guests that you want to wow a little bit with a soup, and just ask them, what do you think of that soup? They wouldn't know it is based on a simple one. But that's it for this week. I will leave you with that picture on the screen. As always, if you want to support us, you can use Patreon. You can also share your pictures on Instagram using the handle French Cook Academy, and we've got Facebook as well. And if you want to learn, again, the techniques of all these little things in French cooking that are super, super useful, don't forget, join our online cooking school because we've got 4 courses that will suit any needs that you have, and they really help for the general cooking. So we'll get some very good feedback, so keep this in mind, and I will see you next week for another cook along video on the French Cooking Academy. Take care all, bye bye.